Welcome to the Planet Earth channel. Today we're diving into the story of the Pacific Ocean, the largest and grandest of all the planet's oceans. Though its character is anything but calm, the name Pacific was given by the greatly mistaken Ferdinand Magellan, who during his voyage encountered no storms or troubles and thought the ocean was peaceful. If we imagine Earth's total water surface as 100%, the Pacific Ocean alone takes up nearly half, about 46%. In comparison, the Indian Ocean only covers about 20%, and if you were to merge all the land masses into one giant supercontinent, it would still be smaller than the Pacific. If all the water of the Pacific were evenly spread across the planet, it would cover the globe with a layer over 2,700 meters thick. The Pacific Ocean is the largest of Earth's 4 oceans. It washes the shores of Eurasia and Australia to the west, North and South America to the east, and Antarctica to the south. Scattered across the Pacific are countless islands, stretching across more than 1 million square kilometers. Many of them form the region known as Oceania. Among the most famous are Tahiti, the Marquesas, Fiji, Hawaii, and many others. The biggest island in Oceania, and the second largest in the world, is New Guinea, cloaked in dense tropical jungles and home for centuries to the Papuans, a people resembling ancient Australians. There's another remarkable Pacific island worth mentioning, Easter Island, near the coast of Chile. It's famous for its moai, stone statues carved nearly 1,000 years ago from hardened volcanic ash. The islanders believed these statues held extraordinary magical powers. The Pacific touches the shores of many nations: Japan, the Philippines, Indonesia, New Zealand, Russia, China, North and South Korea, Thailand, Australia, the United States, Canada, Mexico, Chile, Peru, and many others. Just in Oceania and Australia alone, over 30 million people call these islands home. But don't let the name Pacific fool you. It's far from tranquil. Violent storms rage across its waters, and in the tropics, powerful typhoons form, later crashing into the coasts of Russia, China, Japan, and other Pacific nations. The Pacific is also famous for its tsunamis, giant waves triggered by earthquakes or volcanic eruptions. Out in the deep ocean, these waves are almost invisible, racing under the surface at incredible speeds. But as they approach land, they slow down and grow to terrifying heights, sometimes towering dozens of meters high, sweeping away everything in their path, even flooding entire islands. To fight tsunamis, people build seawalls and breakwaters, monitor the ocean's movements through special stations, and evacuate areas under threat. Earthquakes and volcanic eruptions are common here, since multiple tectonic plates collide beneath the Pacific's floor. When these massive plates shift, they rattle the earth or spew lava skyward. In 1883, the eruption of Krakatoa in Indonesia destroyed the island itself. The ash plume reached 30 kilometers into the sky, and the resulting 30-meter-high tsunami devastated neighboring islands. The oceans have their own rivers, ocean currents, either warm or cold, that shape the weather where they flow. Japan's coastline is bathed by the warm Kuroshio current, bringing milder temperatures, while the cold primary current chills the waters and air. Thanks to these dueling currents, Russia's primary region, where Vladivostok lies, has cool summers but relatively warm winters. And yes, the Pacific even has whirlpools. One of the biggest, the Naruto Whirlpool near Japan, appears twice a day as tides rush through a narrow strait. Nowadays, it's not dangerous. It's a tourist attraction. You can even board a special boat with a glass bottom to watch the swirling waters from below. The Pacific also holds the deepest place on Earth, the Mariana Trench, between the Philippines and Japan. It plunges to about 8 kilometers deep, with some points nearing 11 kilometers. The pressure at the bottom is over 1,100 times greater than atmospheric pressure at sea level. Scientists usually explore the trench using unmanned submersibles, like oceanic versions of lunar rovers. Only once have humans descended to its bottom. In 1960, Swiss oceanographer Jacques Picard and US Navy Lieutenant Don Walsh piloted the bathyscaphe Trieste down to the depths, a journey taking almost 5 hours. They stayed only 20 minutes on the ocean floor, just long enough to glimpse flatfish-like creatures living in the eternal darkness. Life thrives not just in the trench. Half of all aquatic species on Earth live in the Pacific. Tiny coral polyps in the warm waters have built immense underwater cities. Coral reefs that stretch for kilometers, looking like enchanted underwater forests. Some reefs have even formed islands known as atolls, ring-shaped or crescent-shaped coral islands. The most famous is the Great Barrier Reef, running 2,300 kilometers along Australia's northeast coast. The Pacific hosts not just colorful fish and jellyfish, but fierce predators like the great white shark. Up north, colossal lion's mane jellyfish drift through the cold waters, their tentacles stretching up to 20 meters long. The shores of Eurasia and North America are home to colonies of fur seals and bustling bird rookeries. In the eastern Pacific swim the mighty blue whales, the largest animals ever to exist on Earth. For a long time, only the peoples of Asia and the Americas knew of the Pacific's existence. Chinese junks, Polynesian catamarans, and perhaps even South American rafts sailed its vast waters. Europeans first glimpsed the Pacific in September 1513, when Spanish conquistador Vasco Núñez de Balboa reached its southern shores. He had heard indigenous tales of a great sea and lands dripping with gold, the fabled El Dorado. Hoping to find unimaginable wealth, Balboa crossed the Isthmus of Panama and gazed upon the Pacific for the first time. 7 years later, Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan found the strait connecting the Atlantic to this new ocean, now known as the Strait of Magellan, and embarked on the first voyage across the Pacific. Later, Englishman James Cook, Frenchman Jean-François de la Pérouse, Russian explorer Semyon Desnev, and Danish-Russian navigator Vitus Bering added their own chapters to Pacific exploration. During the Russian round-the-world expedition, led by Bellingshausen and Lazarev, Antarctica and several Pacific islands were discovered. Today, the Pacific teems with ships, fishing vessels, cargo carriers, patrol boats, and tourist cruises, and sometimes the Pacific hosts very unusual journeys. In 1947, Norwegian explorer Thor Heyerdahl built the raft Kon-Tiki and sailed from Peru to Oceania, proving that ancient peoples could have made similar voyages across the Pacific. The Kon-Tiki now rests peacefully in a museum. Nowadays, the Pacific is most often crossed by smiling tourists. Millions flock each year to Australia, New Zealand, Indonesia, and the islands of Oceania to sunbathe, surf, and swim. Beneath the Pacific surface lie undersea mountain ranges formed by volcanic eruptions, like the Emperor Seamount Chain. It's also home to the world's longest coral reef system, the Great Barrier Reef. Yet not all Pacific islands are gifts of nature. Some, sadly, are trash islands, vast floating masses of plastic waste growing in the northern Pacific. A quirky story. In 1992, a ship carrying plastic toys from Hong Kong to the US encountered a storm. Thousands of yellow rubber ducks, turtles, beavers, and frogs spilled into the Pacific and were carried by the currents to far-flung shores, from Hawaii to Japan to Alaska. Scientists use these toys to study the movement of ocean currents. The Pacific is also famous for some of the world's highest tides. Near Korea, waters can rise up to 9 meters, and among its strangest treasures are the stone money discs of the island of Yap. Giant stone rings over 2 meters tall and weighing up to 15 tons. If you visit Yap and sell something, transporting your payment might prove complicated. Best to just stand proudly next to your wealth. The Pacific hides countless more wonders, but human carelessness, oil spills, radioactive waste, chemical dumping, plastic pollution threatens its fragile beauty. Entire species have vanished or nearly vanished. The Steller's sea cow of the Bering Sea was driven to extinction by the late 18th century. Fur seals, whales, and many others barely survived. Some populations have recovered, but the sea cow is lost forever. We must learn to protect our ocean and our planet if we wish to continue marveling at its wonders. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Until next time, this post dam I doth you for it didn't channel.